Hello, hope everyone's having a good day and hope you're ready to move a little bit and stretch a little bit. So we're going to start off looking at our hamstrings and our sciatic nerve. So we're going to lie on our back. If you want a foam roller as a pillow, by all means go for it. We're going to start out by doing a dynamic hamstring mobility. So we're going to interlace our fingers, hands just underneath the back of our knee. Start with a bent knee and your toes pointing up, and we're just going to keep this leg pumping to get a bit of a dynamic movement stretch through that hamstring, just to keep it going, pump that blood and circulation around, stretch those muscle fibers and fascia a little bit. Great, let's do the other side. Don't worry if you're not blocking out, sort of fully extending your knee. My hamstrings don't go that far, so just push until you can feel it without overdoing it. And if you can fully lock, I would probably say don't, and just keep it ever so slight bend in the knee, so you're not forcing your kneecap onto the bones behind it. And switch. I never remember to count how many I'm doing on each side, so maybe you are at home. And switch. You can see on my right it's a little bit more jarring and staccato, probably because I've injured this hamstring a few times. So this is a very good one for me to do because it doesn't like it as I get into the end range. Okay, great. What we're going to move on to do now is a sciatic nerve mobilization. So your sciatic nerve starts from your lower spine, goes down underneath your piriformis, down to the back, through the back of the hamstring, gets to the back of the knee, where it then splits off into two different nerves, one of which carries on going down and one comes down here. So because we don't want to just stretch a nerve, we're going to do what's called nerve flossing, which is getting the nerve moving inside its neural sheath. So, in this position here, the second half of the sciatic nerve at the back is stretched because my toes are pointing up. The first half coming through my hamstrings is relaxed because the knee's bent. So what we're going to do is start with a bent knee and toes pointing up. We're going to straighten the leg and point the toes. Bring it back, bend the knee, toes up, point and stretch. And as you come back, bring those knees up, toes up. So as we're pointing the toes, we're releasing the pressure in the bottom half of the sciatic nerve while we're stretching the top half, and vice versa as we come back here. So this nerve is kind of being mobilized through its sheath. Great. Let's do the same on the other side. Start with a bent knee, toes up, point and straighten, bend and come up. Point and straighten, bend and come up. Great, one more time on each side. Bent knee, toes up, straighten, point. One more. Good, and then last time on the other side. Brilliant. Let's do a little bit of a knee hug. So nice floppy legs. All the work is coming from your biceps. Just gently squeeze in, opening those joints in the lower spine. Hold for a few seconds and drop out. Hold for a few seconds and drop out. Great. Let's have arm flat against the floor, hands on your knee, twisting it over to get a nice spiral through the low back. If this is sore, then just do it with both knees, dropping down one way or the other. But if it's manageable, then let's use the leverage and stretch all the way out. Keeping your top half, keeping your shoulder blades on the floor. Brilliant. Come back and drop down. Come back and drop down. Great. Let's do the other side. Knee up, arm flat against the floor, hand on the outside of your knee, pulling it down. You don't need to get this knee all the way on the floor. It's more important to keep your shoulder blades flat on the floor at the top. Come back. Great. Come and sit up. We're going to use the foam roller on our low back. So if you're wearing a t-shirt or anything, tuck it in so it doesn't roll. If you're wearing a sports bra or something, then sometimes you might want a little bit of massage cream or something, just because the skin on our low back's quite sensitive, and if you're foam rolling for too long, it can get a little bit frictiony. So feel the lower spine into the groove. As usual, hands just either side of the pelvis. Lift your bottom just a fraction off the floor. Keep your chest nice and high when we're foam rolling, the low back, and come through there. Nice and gently to begin with. You can feel your t-shirt rolling up, then just tuck it back in, take a second, recenter, and go again. And this is the point I remind you that if you're not using a Manta foam roller, if it's not got a spinal groove, then you shouldn't really be using a foam roller in your low back. So if it is the case, then just go into a child's pose and just stretch out nice and gently for 30 seconds or so while we finish. If that feels quite comfortable going straight, let's just make it a little bit harder by twisting to one side slightly and really getting into those muscles either side of the spine. Oh, that feels good. And then off to the other side. And then do a few straights to loosen it all off. Brilliant. Let's move it up a fraction into our mid-back. Let's start by having foam roller just below our shoulder blades and pivoting up and over, keeping the pelvis on the floor to begin with, just getting some extension through that low back, mid-back even. Move it up a fraction and pivot. And move it up a fraction and pivot. Great. Let's recenter. Start with your foam roller, spine in the groove of the mid back. Cross over and let's lift the pelvis now and get into those muscles either side of the spine. Don't be surprised if you hear a few pops and clicks. That's totally fine. Let's tilt ever so slightly to our left, coming into those erector spinae and rib attachments on one side. And then let's go over to our right, targeting the opposite muscles on the other side. Oh, nice. Just going to recenter, because otherwise I roll out of frame. And a few more. Oh. Nice and slowly. Oh, brilliant. Let's come on to all fours and we're going to do some more mid-back, so that's your thoracic spine rotation, okay? Foam rolling is great for getting extension and releasing off some of the joints. Less effective for rotation. So we're going to come into on our all fours, one hand to our temple, we're going to drop the elbow down and rotate up. So this is working our mid-back into rotation because our lower back is blocked. Great, and switch. Other hand to your temple. Start with the elbow coming low. Come back up. One more each side. Last one. Great. We're going to target the muscles around our outside of our shoulder blade. So that's your teres group and your upper portion of your latissimus dorsi. So I'm going to be using the outer groove because this is a tender area. If you don't feel like it's hitting the spot quite as firmly as you'd like, try the middle ribs or the central prongs, but I'd probably start on the outside, palm facing outwards, and we're just slowly rolling on the muscles that often get very tight on the sort of back and outside of our shoulder blades. A lot of this is just postural because everything brings us forward, so those muscles are constantly under stretch, don't get strengthened very often, and therefore can get a bit tight and a bit tired. Great. Other side. This is often one area that gets people gasping and screaming. Come on to the other side again. I'm still just using outer groove. I don't think I'm in an emotional state to get that painful today. And we're going to do some waving. Oh, so keep the foam roller still. Get those arms rotating. I'm doing this with the palm down. Perfect. Last time on the other side. Palm down. Great. Let's finish off with thumbs pointing up, stretching out that shoulder joint. So just letting the body and thorax drop forwards, getting a little bit of extension through that shoulder. Thumbs pointing up. Brilliant. We're going to do 2 exercises in one. So we're going to sit on the foam roller to release our calves. So outer grooves on the calves, sitting down. And while we're in that position, let's also do some shoulder shrugs. Backwards, just get those scapular shoulder blades moving across your thorax, rib cage, and then the other way. Excellent. Okay, let's go into a nice neck stretch. So previously we've worked the muscles at the back and side of our neck when we're looking down towards our armpit. This time we're going to work our scalenes, which are more on the outside and front of our neck. So what we're going to do instead, let's have one hand coming over to just above our ear, pulling down ear to shoulder to get a stretch through here. Make sure your shoulder doesn't come up. Hold that for 10. Take some nice deep breaths in while you're doing it. Great. And let's come to the side. Hand above the ear, dropping down, making sure the shoulder doesn't rise up. A few nice deep breaths in. You'll often find that as you exhale, you can just take it that millimetre further. So maybe do 3 nice deep breaths, which is usually about 10 seconds. Great, let's come back. Excellent for people that suffer with getting sort of pins and needles down into the arm. Often these scalenes can be one area where the nerves from your neck into the arm get a little bit pinched. Great, and one more time. Oh, great. Let's do some zombie arms. So that's when we're going to mobilize our neck, okay? So we're going to look over our right shoulder to begin with, see where your nose can get to on the wall, just as a measure. Don't force it, just go natural. Arms in front, okay? And then we're going to have nice relaxed shoulders, nice relaxed upper back. We're going to rotate 10 times in the opposite direction. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Brilliant. Then look back over your right shoulder and see if you can get any further. I can automatically get about an extra 10, 15 degrees. And so we're going to do exactly the same thing, but we're going to look to the left, see where our nose can get to on the wall, back to neutral, arms nice and relaxed. 10 times in the opposite direction. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, and then look back over your left, and once again, more times than not, you'll be able to get an extra 10 degrees. Really quick, really gentle, especially when you wake up in the mornings and you're feeling a bit tight. We've got very acute sort of a neck pinch. It's a really safe way to get a little bit more rotation through your neck, because what you're doing is your arms are dragging your upper back one way, which is the equivalent to looking the other. So it's really gentle, very functional, and lovely. Let's come and finish off with our favourite. So foam roller directly below our skull. Let's give ourselves those attractive double chins. Make sure you can adjust the foam roller as you nod your chin down if you need to. And then focus on your breathing for the next minute or so. Lovely, come and sit up. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll catch you next time.